Hello, I'm Ryan, and welcome to Analyze This, Mr. Bond, my channel where I discuss the adventures of James Bond 007 and dig for what lies beneath the surface. And if you've been following my channel lately, you know I've been working through the Sean Connery era of Bond films and have just finished discussing You Only Live Twice. And as I look ahead to the next set of films to cover, that primarily being On Her Majesty's Secret Service and Diamonds Are Forever, I'm left with a question, and I want to pose this all to you as well. When is the end of the Sean Connery era? When does it conclude? You can make a strong case for You Only Live Twice being the original and true ending of the Sean Connery era. It was intended to be Sean Connery's last film. It is the biggest and grandest of the Sean Connery Bond films, just in terms of raw spectacle, and it was also the film that somewhat culminated the Spectre arc, in the sense that this is the film where Bond finally comes face to face with Ernst Stavro Blofeld, his faceless nemesis that has been slowly built up over the course of these prior films, with Spectre being introduced in Dr. No, and Blofeld himself being introduced in From Russia with Love, and reappearing in Thunderball. But Blofeld does get away at the end of You Only Live Twice, and there's this peculiar element that On Her Majesty's Secret Service is loosely a continuation of the Sean Connery Bond films. There's that notable moment in On Her Majesty's Secret Service where Bond views mementos of the prior era. The title sequence of On Her Majesty's Secret Service regards all of the prior movies as being part of that continuity. So even though the movie has some peculiar continuity aspects in the sense that Bond and Blofeld don't seem to have previously met in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, there's this sense that it is building on this prior momentum, this prior Spectre arc. And Diamonds Are Forever loosely continues that in its own way, too, when Sean Connery returns to the role. The challenge I have with seeing Diamonds Are Forever as a true encapsulation of what I consider the Sean Connery era is that Bond in that film feels very different. Sean Connery comes back to the part in Diamonds Are Forever, but Diamonds Are Forever doesn't really feel like any other Bond film, and we'll have to talk about Diamonds Are Forever when we get there. But it's a very peculiar capstone to the Sean Connery run in the sense that it feels pretty detached from it, and no wonder why. It was spaced out from You Only Live Twice by a good set of years. Cultural changes had really taken root, and it's also a different creative team that had been working on Her Majesty's Secret Service with a different sensibility. They went back to Guy Hamilton, who did Goldfinger, and the tone of that movie generally foreshadows where the Roger Moore era would go, but it also has its own peculiar sensibilities. It just feels like an outlier in the series, as much as Diamonds Are Forever is very memorable in a lot of ways. It's controversial. Not everybody loves Diamonds Are Forever, but it has this peculiar place where it's almost like a postlude, so to speak, or kind of like a reunion special for Sean Connery's Bond that kind of does and doesn't fit into that original run. And that's even more true of Never Say Never Again, which comes out in the 1980s, and Sean Connery himself is very energized and strong in that film. In many ways, I think his portrayal of Bond feels more like Bond in Never Say Never Again than it does in Diamonds Are Forever, which the character he's playing in Diamonds Are Forever is entertaining to watch, but doesn't really feel like the character of Bond that he's built up over the prior films. But Never Say Never Again itself doesn't really bear the hallmarks of the series and is in fact a remake of one of his prior adventures. So that really just feels like it's a peculiar outlier in and of itself. But that puts us in this weird space where Sean Connery has effectively had 3 endings for his era. I'm leaning towards seeing You Only Live Twice as the proper ending, and both Diamonds Are Forever and On Her Majesty's Diamonds Are Forever, which has been separated by On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and Never Say Never Again, which is separated by the bulk of the Roger Moore era from Connery's run, both as kind of weird epilogues that we should consider as part of his overall legacy as the Bond character, but really it's the initial five that really encapsulates the Sean Connery era. So let me know what you think. I just wanted to create this short video because it's going to take me a little bit to pull together some of my thoughts on Her Majesty's Secret Service, which is the movie I'm leaping into next. I'm including that in my discussion of this broader Sean Connery run because uh, it's included in it in terms of continuity, um, and has ramifications for the Connery films on both sides, even though On Her Majesty's Secret Service is really a kind of standalone detour for the series that, had George Lazenby stayed in the role, might have been a full reboot for what the series would be. Um, so I'm working on that. I'm preparing that, but it's going to take me a little bit to get there. These weeks are busy for me, so it'll be a bit before you get another longer video from me exploring On Her Majesty's Secret Service. But your thoughts here could actually help shape some of my comments in future videos here, because I'm very much thinking about this, especially as I try to do what I originally set out to do in each of these series, which is to create a unified theory for each of the Bond actors, what it is they do with Bond, how their Bond works. I feel like in the Connery movies, I've done an okay job of responding to each movie in turn, but haven't yet laid out my clear thesis for who the Sean Connery Bond character is. And in some ways, how I lay that out depends on where I think the end point of his era truly lies. So let me know in the comments where you think I should be taking that, where you think the end of the Sean Connery era fits. And I'll look forward to talking with you there, and I'll catch you in the next one.